Hi, this is Sweet June. I'm coming back at you with another interesting video topic. Now, I like to talk about women's issues on here. Um, I'm a woman and I'm very passionate about um, women's issues, and I'm an advocate of women knowing their worth and um, trying to make as minimal mistakes as you could possibly make throughout this journey called life. So I have compiled a top 10 list, top 10 things that ruin single women's lives. This is my list. Yeah, you can agree with them, you can disagree, but this is my personal opinion, trial and error, some of the things that I've experienced, went through, whatever, that I went through, things didn't work out, whatever. That's just my opinion of through my experiences and how I think that if women avoid these things, that they would be a happier person and they wouldn't have to deal with a lot of the issues that you have to deal with when you're dealing with these certain things. So this is my list. I mean, let me know in the comment section if you guys don't agree with one or two of the things on I have on my list, but this is my list. Top 10 things that single women do to ruin their lives. Number one is sex outside of marriage. Yes, I said sex outside of marriage. Jehovah God in the Bible, said that we are to wait until marriage to have sex. And there's a reason why he puts that in the Bible, no fornication. And the reason why he puts that in the Bible is it's a protection. It's a protection. Jehovah, he's like a loving father. I mean, he wants to do everything he can to protect us, and he knows that if we do these things, that it's going to cause us hurt. It's going to cause us a lot of problems, and in more oftentimes than not, it does cause a lot of problems. Women, women are we're emotional, and sex is emotional to us, whereas men is more of a physical act. Women, it's more emotional for us. And now, not in all cases it is, but in a lot of cases it is. I mean, if you're dating a guy and then you're having sex with him, um, and you're in your heart and your mind, you're hoping that things go a little bit further. And if you have that worldly mindset, you're thinking, okay, well, if I have sex with him, then he'll stick around. And sometimes they won't, because men don't view sex the same way that women views it a lot of times. The way men think and the way women think are different. Men and women don't think alike, and sex to men is more of a physical act, whereas with a woman, it's more of an emotional act, and not in all cases, but in a lot of cases it is. So, it's not a good idea for women to have sex outside of marriage. I mean, you should wait until. I would strongly advise if you're single to wait until marriage. Um, to have sex. Some people would agree with me. A lot of people would probably disagree with me because, you know, a lot of people say, well, when you go buying a car, you need to test drive the car or whatever. Well, you know what I say to that? Women are not cars. We're human beings. We're not cars. Men are not cars. Women are not cars. And Jehovah God created us, and He knows what's best for us. So I put that as number one. Number two, becoming a baby mama, single parenthood. Um, if you're a single woman and you have a child outside of marriage, um, through my experiences, I've had to suffer a lot of consequences as a result of having children outside of marriage. I've talked about in my other videos, being a single mother is very, very hard. It's very difficult, and if you're financially not ready to prepare to have a child, if you're emotionally not ready to raise a child on your own, because you don't know if the guy's going to stick around or not. If he doesn't marry you, you know. Um, Now, if you get married, there's no guarantees in life. You know, if you get married and get a divorce, you're still a single parent. I get that, but to have the child without the benefit of marriage is, you know, is even worse. I mean, you know, you're standing a chance of having to raise that child on your own, and it's very difficult. As I've stated in a lot of my other videos, it is extremely hard being a single parent. I would highly recommend that if you're a single woman, do not have any children outside of marriage. You know, it's for the benefit of the child, and it's for your benefit as well. Um, there's a reason why Jehovah God instituted marriage before children. He instituted sex before marriage, and um, children within the context of marriage. That way, you have two people. You got the man and the woman that is both providing for the child physically and emotionally, and you need help. Just plain and simple, you need help. You need help financially, you need emotional, all that. You need all that support when you're raising a child. It's very difficult trying to do it on your own. So I would highly advise women, single women, don't be a baby mama. It's not good to be a baby mama. You want to be a wife. You want to be a wife, not a baby mama. Who wants to be a baby mama? I never wanted to be a baby mama, but you know, I had kids outside of marriage. That's what I got. So don't do it. Number 3, debt. Getting into debt. That's credit card debt, student loan debt. If you're going to go to college, I would highly recommend that you get scholarships, uh, grants, or whatever. Try to avoid student loans at all costs. If you have to get a student loan, get a small amount, enough to where you can afford to pay it off. But I would not recommend getting student loans. I'm in a lot of student loan debt now. I'm in student loan debt up to my ears. And if it wasn't for the government repayment program, I don't know how I would have been able to pay it back. So, and on top of that, I didn't finish school. And don't get into a lot of credit card debt. You're going to cause yourself a lot of problems. These creditors nowadays do not play. They will garnish your wages. They will do all kinds of stuff to try to collect the money. And if the best thing you can do is to not get in credit card debt. If you cannot afford to buy it outright, then if you need it, then you got to need to try to figure out another way to get it without getting a credit card. If you do get a credit card, get one credit card and pay it off as soon as possible before the interest compounds on it. So that's my recommendation. Try your best that you possibly can to stay out of debt. Number 4, getting involved with a married man. That's the worst thing you can do as a single woman, is to get involved with a married man. First of all, it's adultery. God hates it. That's the worst thing a woman can do. It can wreak havoc on you emotionally. It's just no good. And anytime a married man gets involved with a single woman, he ain't up to no good. I'm just gonna put it out there. He's not up to no good because he's cheating on his wife. If he's cheating, I'm probably gonna do a whole separate video talking about this. I'm actually gonna do a whole nother video specifically talking about this topic. But yes, as you're a single woman, under any circumstances, do not get involved with a married man. That is a big no-no. He's not going to leave his wife, and even if he does leave his wife, what are you getting? 9 times out of 10, he's going to do the same thing to you, and it's just wrong. God hates it. You can't have a relationship with God if you're committing adultery. It's just bad all the way around. Don't do it. Just avoid married men. If one comes your way, tell them turn around and walk the other way. I'm going to stay tuned. I'm going to do another video talking about that. Number 5, shacking up. That's worst thing. Another worst thing you can do as a single woman is to shack up with a man. 9 times they have an old saying, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? And a lot of times you're giving, when you move in with a man, you're giving him all the benefits of a wife without the ring, without the piece of paper, without that commitment. You don't want to do that, particularly if you want to get married. If you want to get married, that's the worst thing you can do is live with a man, because what happens is that man gets complacent and he gets used to living with you without the benefit of marriage. And it's going to be even more difficult for him to propose to you, because he figured, well, I'm already getting all the benefits that I would get if we were married, you know. So it's just not a good idea. It's going to be harder for him to get him to marry you if you're living with him, because he figured you're already playing a wifey role already. Do not give. I think I did a video talking about this. Do not give boyfriends husband benefits. Boyfriends don't get husband benefits. They don't get it. I mean, you just don't give the boyfriend husband benefits. There are certain things that he as a husband should get, including sex. But if he's not your husband, then no, absolutely not. He doesn't get you access to you 24/7. You know, you're cooking for him on a daily basis. You're washing his clothes. You're cleaning up after him. You're having sex with him on a regular basis. Those are things that wives do. If you are not a wife and you don't have the ring on your finger, if you want to be a wife, absolutely not. That's the worst thing you can do is shack up. Don't do it. And it's wrong in God's eyes. 6, not knowing your worth. That's the worst thing as a single woman. If you don't know your worth, you can set yourself up to be used by men, take advantage of, certain things that men can pick up about women. And if you don't know your worth, it's important. It's so important to know your worth as a woman. I learned this as I got older, going through a lot of things and experiences when I was younger, and now I realize I know my worth. Um, like I say, once you learn your worth, it's just one of the most beautiful things in the world. Once you learn your worth and know who get a sense of who you are, and because you know what you deserve, and what you gonna deal with, what you gonna put up with, and what you won't put up with, and so not knowing your worth is one of the worst things as a single woman, because, like I said, you set yourself up to be used, taken advantage of, your heart broken, and all these kind of things. And then you tend have the tendency to get involved with the wrong type of guys. So, not knowing your worth, it's important to know your worth as a single woman. Number 7, chasing men. I made this mistake a long time ago when I was younger, but I retired my running shoes. The worst thing you can do as a single woman is chase a man. Jehovah God put in men to pursue the woman. It's certain things that Jehovah God put in a man, and certain things that He put in a woman, and He put in a man to go after, to hunt, to chase the woman. Pursue the woman, and that's just the way men are wired. They're wired to pursue you. Um, if you have to chase him, first of all, if you have to chase him, then he's just not that into you. Stay tuned. I'm gonna do a video talking about that. He's just not that into you if you have to chase him. Because if he really wants to be with you, if he wants to be with you, then he will come. He will make all the phone calls. He will pursue you. And men like a challenge. They like a challenge. Trust me, what I'm saying. They like a challenge. If you're too easy, if they got too easy access to you, it's a turn off for them. 9 times out of 10, they're turned off by you. If you're too easy, they like to chase. That's part of the attraction that they have to you. They like that. Trust me, they like it. That's just the way men are. That's the way they're wired. So that's the worst thing you can do is chase a man. I don't care how much you like him, how much you care about him. Um, but the thing is, you want him to feel the same way about you. So if he don't feel the same way about you, if he don't want you, then why you want him? Okay. So if he doesn't feel the same way about you, then you're spinning your wheels, you're wasting your time. Well, time is valuable. You don't have that time to waste. And so it is just not ladylike. It's just not ladylike. Like I said, I made that mistake many, many years ago, It's just not ladylike, It's just part of being a lady and knowing your worth is to let the man pursue you. My mother, she said she would make this statement. It's so simple, but it's huge. He'll let you know if he want to be bothered. I mean, my mother used to say that to me all the time. He'll let you know if he want to be bothered. It's so simple. It's such a simple statement, but it's so huge. It is so huge. And so my mother used to say that to me all the time. And it's huge. It's just a simple statement, but it's huge. He'll let you know if he wants to be bothered. And if he don't want to be bothered, cut him loose. Don't chase, ladies. Not good. Number 8, abusive relationships. Don't get yourself involved with a man. Actually, there's signs to look for in a guy if he's abusive. Um, a lot of times, if we like a guy, we're dating a guy, particularly if you're young, the signs are there, but it's very easy for you to overlook them. But there are signs to look for when a guy is abusive, that you can kind of tell if he's abusive, if he's controlling, kind of forcing himself on you. I'm not talking about physically, but kind of it's just certain things that you can look for just by this his conversation and just talking to him, and there's certain things that you can pick up by him to tell if he's going to be abusive. The signs are there, but a lot of times the problem is that women have the tendency to ignore those signs, and so, but the signs are there if you open up your eyes. And so, but if a man does try to cross the line and try to be abusive towards you, um, you need to call the police. You need to get all the resources that you possibly can and get away from him. Don't walk away from him, but run away from him. And do not get involved with him. Stay away from abusive men. I mean, I know that there's women in those circumstances that it's not that easy for them to get away from it. I, thank God, have never been in a situation like that. But I know sometimes it's very hard for women to get out of abusive relationships. But like I say, if you document the abuse, if the man is abusing you and you document, go down to the police station, take pictures of the marks and everything like that. You document his abuse. You get his abuse on record. And then that's the police can do, the more evidence they have, the more that they can do something about it. So at all costs, do everything you can to stay away from abusive relationships. It's not good for you physically, emotionally, all the way around. It's just bad. Number 9, thirsty and desperate. Same difference. Same thing. Ladies, don't be thirsty. It's just not good. It's not attractive. It's not cute. Don't be thirsty. Don't be desperate. There's certain things that men can pick up. They can tell if you're desperate. They can tell if you got to realize, ladies, that there's more men out there than it is women. So a lot of times guys play on that. Guys know that there's more of them than it is of us. So, a lot of times they play on that. And, and there's certain things that they can pick up and they can kind of tell if you're thirsty. They can tell. They can tell. If you're like that, they can pick up on it. Trust me. There's guys, they're slick. They're real slick. And they can pick up on it. And you don't want that. I mean, because then you set yourself up to be taken advantage of. So do not give off the vibe that you're thirsty, that that you're thirsty, a guy, you're supposed to already know that you're beautiful. You're already supposed to know that you're special and all this. So you don't need a man to validate those things. You don't need a man to tell you that you're beautiful if you already know you're beautiful. So you don't need a man to validate you in that way. So just don't be desperate. This is not attractive. And a lot of times guys don't find that attractive. They just don't find that attractive. Um, number 10, settling for the wrong man. Um, if the guy is just not right for you, and you know that there's a lot of you dating a guy and there's a lot of deal breakers, but you with him, you don't want to be alone, you're afraid of being alone, and so you just kind of being with him and going through the motions just so you can have some companionship and so you can have somebody. That's just never settle, ladies. I know it was a guy that I dated one time that I met online, and he was a really, really nice guy. That was when I used to do my online dating. He was a really, really nice guy, but I just, I talked to him for 6 months before we actually had a chance to meet face to face and everything. We started spending time together, and I just wasn't feeling him. I just wasn't feeling him. The chemistry in my mind, the chemistry just wasn't there. And but this he was really he really really cared about me. I think he was even willing to marry me. Um, my kids liked him. I mean, he was gonna take on me and my kids, and he was helping. He was doing things for me, and he was a really really nice guy. And I was like, and at first I was thinking, well, I don't. I mean, how many options do I have being a single mom? And what if nobody else comes along? And so I'm thinking all these things in my mind, because I wanted to get married, but my heart just was not into this guy. My heart just wasn't there. And so I prayed about it. Plus, we wasn't spiritually yoked anyway. And so I prayed about it, you know, and I just made the decision just to let him go. I mean, he was really, really upset, but um, I knew in my heart that I couldn't love him the way that he deserved to be loved because my heart just wasn't there. The chemistry wasn't there. And so, um, if I had stayed with him, I would have been settling, because I would have been with him for all the wrong reasons because of companionship and he was there for me and all this kind of stuff. Um, you can't just be with somebody because of their companionship, they're helping you or whatever. You gotta be with them. Your heart has gotta be there. If your heart is not in there, then you're not helping them, you're not benefiting them, and you're doing yourself a disservice. And so I made the decision that it was the best thing to do was to end the relationship. I mean, we really wasn't in that. We was still kind of just dating, but um, he was pretty upset. But in my mind, in my heart, I knew I did the right thing because if I had stayed with him, I would have been settling, and that's the worst thing a woman, as a single woman, that you can do. Um, Even if you don't want to be alone, you have to learn to be alone. You have to learn to be alone. It's better to be alone than to be with somebody that you're not happy with, and your heart is not into. So I just think I put that on the list 'cause I think that's one of the worst things a single woman can do is settle. Never settle for the wrong man. Even if and sometimes even if a man is nice, that doesn't mean that he's the right man for you. He could be a nice guy, but that doesn't mean that he's the right man for you. There's a lot of nice guys out there, but that doesn't mean that he's the right man for you. So if you're not feeling this person in your heart, and there's some deal breakers there, but you at the same time you're afraid of being alone. You don't want to be alone. Unfortunately, those are not good reasons to stay. You know, because if your heart's not there, the chemistry is not there, the connection is not there. Best thing to do is let it go. Don't settle. You know. So those are my top 10 lists. Let me know in the comment section what you think. Be nice. Um, you may agree with some of them. You may not agree with all of them. Let me know in the comment section. Like I said, be nice. I got some more interesting video topics coming up. This is CJ.